On today's Pedone, my take, I'm going to be taking your calls live on the air as we get you ready for the Cleveland Indians versus New York Yankees, Game 2 from Progressive Field at 7 o'clock. We're going to be chatting with you here until 7, getting you ready for all that action. A lot of stuff to get into. Indians blown out of Game 1. We're going to put that behind us as we get ready tonight. Preview Game 2. We're quickly also going to get into Browns and Dallas. Really huge opportunity there for the Browns this Sunday. So before we get into all of that, I need to tell you about my bookie because winning season is here and winning season has finally returned at my bookie. Winning season means doubling your first deposit. Winning season means Survivor, Super Contest, and Squares. At my bookie, winning season means hitting all your parlays and all your props with your feet up, watching your team trounce their rivals. So rejoice because it's time to celebrate the NFL season with my bookie. Invest in your intuition. Use promo code Pedone and double your first deposit. New players get up to $1,000 in free play, designated to add the excitement to the sports you love and the games that you bet on. Every live betting championship, futures, every play that you're waiting to make is waiting for you over at MyBookie. It's simple. You're going to register using my last name, Pedone. You're going to make your picks. You're going to win big, and you're going to collect your cash. Again, use promo code Pedone and double that first deposit because your winning season is here. Your winning season begins today, and it's only at MyBookie. Let's do this thing. Welcome on into Pedone, my take. I'm Nick Pedone. I'm your host as always. The phone number to call the show today is 216-716-2272. That's 216-716-2272. You'll see it at the bottom of the screen throughout this entire thing. We got a fun one for you guys today because the Cleveland Indians are going to look to right their wrongs from last night when they do battle here at 7 o'clock with those New York Yankees. And I want to know at 216-716-2272, fooled. Do you feel fooled again? Because when I woke up this morning, that's how I felt, and that's how I currently feel. So yesterday we're so excited. You know, Cleveland back in the spotlight. We've had a lot of that spotlight the last couple years. We have the presidential debate. Really excited for that. But before that, we have Cleveland Indians, New York Yankees, Game 1. Shane Bieber. All signs indicate the guy's going to win the Cy Young Award this season. He goes out there and gets shelled in the first inning, and it was like, well, we've seen this movie before. Well, we know this is going to be a long night because Shane Bieber didn't have his stuff. And I'm dead inside because as I watched that, it just showed to me that it's the same old Indians. And we're going to get into more of it in a second. But I think this is what we deserve as Tribe fans because we bought into the miracle. We bought into the fairy tale again that the Paul Dolans and Chris Antonetti have any idea what they're doing with this organization. And I say that kind of facetiously because we always hear, right? Whether it be on the radio, whether it be on social media, whether it be, in articles, we always hear that the Indians have a really well-ran organization. Okay, I understand that to an extent. We know that they're an organization that makes a lot of trades. They don't spend a lot of money. They make those trades in order to get farm system players, 17 and 18-year-olds that they know and they feel confident that they can develop those kids from within. Okay, I understand that. I'm on board with you there with all of that. But my issue arises when you look at teams that haven't won a World Series in the last how many ever decades that it's been, and the Cleveland Indians are number one on that list. The Cleveland Indians are the longest team in baseball without a World Series championship. The drought is Cleveland, Ohio, when it comes to World Series baseball. And I was one inning away from it in darn 2016, and it had to rain. But that's where I get frustrated. Because this offseason, right, we hear we're going to trade Kluber. We're going to get a firearm bullpen guy that a lot of control. We know that's what the Indians like. They like taking on these guys where they have a lot of control over their contracts. We're going to get Delino DeShields, and we're going to make another run because we have good young pitching. We have Plesac. We have Savali. We have the young pitching to make a run, right? That's all I hear about. Okay, so we do that. And it worked out. Corey Kluber got injured very early on in the year. No love lost, in a sense. Then, dating back to last season, Trevor Bauer. I haven't even mentioned his name. How about him today? 7 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts. He seems to be the NL Cy Young. And we traded him away for what? Yasiel Puig, who's out of the league right now. Which I don't know why, because this Indians offense could have used him at the deadline. At least give him a shot. He's out of baseball. In a 3-team trade, we got Franmil Reyes, who appeared to be, the second coming. It seemed like that was the big bat that we've been longing for in this city for the last 4 years. No, he's cooled down. So why do we continue to make these trades? What, I get Logan Allen, a AAA bullpen guy that maybe comes up and, pitches 40, 50 games out of the bullpen next year? Great. That's what I got. I got Franmil Reyes, who's a lifetime 250 hitter, and Logan Allen, who's a division AAA pitcher that I might not even see for 2 more years or 1 more year. For a guy that's going to win the Cy Young. That grinds my gear so bad. And the way that the Indians justify it, or attempt to justify it to their fans, are, well, we trust the young pitching that we got. We trust the farm system. Well, the young pitching was on display last night, and the young pitching is going to win the AL Cy Young in Shane Bieber. But what the young pitching doesn't have is any playoff experience. The Tribe, it takes something in between your legs, is how I'll put that, to trot out players that have a combined 2 games of playoff experience. Shane Bieber never pitched in the playoffs. Cookie Carrasco, who's pitching tonight, and I pray to the baseball gods and messiahs that he wins this game for this organization in this city tonight. He has 2 games. He's always hurt in the playoffs. The 1 year he got hit by the comebacker. Last year we didn't make it when he was sick anyways. He's pitched 2 games. Zach Plesac, this is his first full year. It's not even a full year. It's a 60-game season. So he hasn't pitched in any postseason because we didn't make it last year when he was on the team. That's it. What else do we have? What else is there? Aaron Savali. Again, this is his first full year. Not even a full year. He's a rookie in my mind. Tristan McKenzie. The guy literally got brought up for a spot start, and it went surprisingly well to everyone. And now he's a bullpen emergency starter. That makes me so mad. You guys don't understand how mad that makes me. And that's why you see people crapping on the Tribe. And if you want to talk me off my pedestal, or you want to get mad and you want to yell with me, you can do that right now at 216-716-2272 is that phone number to call. Because I know there's people out there that feel the same way that I'm feeling tonight. Because if you have a surefire thing, and this goes for any sport, this goes for basketball, this goes for football, this goes for baseball. I'm not the biggest hockey guy, lacrosse guy, rugby guy, soccer guy, but I'm sure it applies to those sports as well. And it's if you have proven veteran talent, no matter what the cost, no matter what the headache, because I know the Trevor Bauer trade came via headache, because he still has some team control. He's still in Cincinnati. They didn't have to extend him yet. I know it came because of the headache. But if you have a guy like that that's proven, you keep him. It doesn't matter. And I know people are going to say, well, what about Lindor? We can't afford to Lindor. That's a different conversation. We're going to get to that once we start talking about this game and, God forbid, what could happen after this game. But what I'm saying is, you can't have 3 guys that are front-end starters, perennial aces on most teams, and just trade them away for the poo-poo platter. I know I made fun of that during the show when we traded Clevenger, and I had the guy on from San Diego, and he was trying to talk me down, saying that, oh, you guys got enough. You have some really young, promising players that are going to go in there and that are going to do well. Really? Because at that time, the Indians were in first place. And now today, it seems like the Indians are going to be a stopping ground. They're going to be a little pit stop on the turnpike for the New York Yankees as they head to LA, or as they head to California, Texas, to go into Major League Baseball's playoff bubble. And I want to hear from you, 216-716-2272. If you're too shy to call the show, don't be. This isn't a traditional radio show. We're going to have some fun. I need somebody to talk me off the ledge here, because in less than an hour, we have Game 2. And that's the nice thing about baseball is last night I went to bed in a really bad mood. That debate gave me a headache because of all the interrupting. But even more so, down the dial, I had Josh Naylor trying to be hero, trying to save my favorite franchise, and to no avail, because the Tribe got smoked last night. So we're going to try to look ahead, because Corey Kluber is or not Corey Kluber. Man, I'm a mess tonight. Carlos Carrasco is on tonight. I actually have faith in Cookie. I know he's been shaky this year. And you look at the starts, they haven't been, Cookie Carrasco-esque. You look at the time that he missed from the leukemia. Obviously, that probably set him back a little bit in terms of, being ready for this season. Let's take a step back and look at this from a jumbo picture for a second, if we will. How awesome would this be if the Cleveland Indians went out there with Cookie Carrasco and he was just lights out? Because he was the story in baseball last year for a sad, kind of depressing reason. And then he came back, for the All-Star weekend, and everybody gave him the standing, round of applause with the I Stand for Cancer stuff. And that was just awesome and heartwarming. But subconsciously, it was sad because it was like, man, this guy's sick. Like, he can't be out there with his teammates. He should be in this All-Star game. Like, he is that dude. He's that caliber of a player. So that was so tremendously sad. But tonight, him and the rest of the Cleveland Indians as an organization, as a team, have the opportunity to make that cool, to bring that storyline full circle, and have it be like this guy that was so down literally 1 year ago is back. And like, he's not only back, like, he's ready to win, make a playoff push. And I think that's the big thing, because you play the Yankees and everybody gets scared. Admittedly, I get scared whenever a Cleveland team plays whenever the Cleveland Indians play the New York Yankees. It's like the Steelers. It's the gray and the blue and the black. It's the pinstripes. It's the, the black and yellow in Pittsburgh. It's intimidating because they have tormented our franchise, our fan base, for the majority of our lives. So my issue with that is, I was like, does this team feel the same way? Because there's guys on this roster, not many of them, but a few of them, that were on the roster when the Yankees won in 5 a couple years ago. And if you take it back to that time, the Indians were the World Series favorite there. So to lose in the first round of the Yankees in 5 was a heartbreaker. Obviously injuries prevailed in that series. But I just have my fingers crossed, and I truly feel in my heart of hearts that Cookie could right this ship tonight, which will be awesome, because like Game 3, we hear it all the time with Game 7s usually, is anything can happen. And I truly feel that that's the case. If you just win tonight, that's all you have to do. It's baseball. You have such a quick turnaround time to get that bad taste out of your mouth. But on the inverse, in that short amount of time, you could just easily carry that momentum on to the next game. So my keys for the Cleveland Indians tonight, I want to hear your keys as well. 216-716-2272 is that phone number to call. My key for the game tonight is do the exact opposite of last night. And I'm not saying that jokingly by any stretch of the imagination. What I mean by that is the Cleveland Indians need to go out tonight, and specifically Carlos Carrasco, and have a 1-2-3 first inning and get those bats up and have them awake. It's your home crowd. It's your fake noise that's going to be getting pumped in there. Man, we saw this in the Monday Night Football game in Baltimore. It seems like they have control over how loud and how soft it goes to get the fans that fired up, to get the fans that excited. So we need that tonight. We need that loud, fake crowd noise on the Indian side. But you know how you do that is you give the sound operators and you give the fans at home hope. You generate rallies. You get hits early and often. Whereas yesterday, the New York Yankees were hitting on you early and often. I would love nothing more, and this is a scorching take, and I'm going to say it out loud. If Cookie Carrasco goes out there and he has a 1-2-3 first, and then the Tribe are able to score in the bottom of that first inning, the Cleveland Indians are going to win this game. Throughout the course of his career, Jose Ramirez against Tanaka, who's pitching tonight for the New York Yankees, phenomenal. He's 9 of 14 career against Tanaka. If the Indians get out first tonight and score runs first, which is the biggest challenge, the biggest battle for this team, and I don't think anybody's debating that, and if you want to, 216-716-2272 is the number to do so. If the Indians can score first, they're going to win this baseball game. The Yankees are a very complete team, but they're a very streaky team in a similar fashion to the Indians. The Indians swing and miss a lot. The Yankees swing and miss a lot. That's not a detriment to or against either of those teams, either of those fan bases. But what I'm trying to say here is, if you get the momentum, you need to capitalize on it, and you need to win the game then and there. Because once you get it, it doesn't last very long. So I don't think the Yankees are really going to be able to carry over what they did last night. At least I really, really hope not. So in a little bit, we are going to take a break today. No guest on the show. I would love to debate it with you. 216-716-2272 is that number to call. And my question for you is, can the Tribe hang with the big boys? Because that's what I want to know. By all accords, and I need to check this score right here, it seems like the Tampa Bay Rays are going to be the team that is advancing on the other side of the bracket, right? So the winner of whoever wins Cleveland versus New York is going to play either Blue Jays or Tampa. At this current moment, as this is getting recorded, it appears as if we're in the bottom of the 6th inning, and the Rays are up 6-2. So, by all accounts, the favorite is going to win there, and the Tampa Bay Rays are going to be winning, moving forward. My question to you, 216-716-2272. This simple. Can the Cleveland Indians hang with the big boys? And while we think about that, let me put this nugget in there. So you talk about hanging with the big boys, and the Indians are an impressive team. They're an impressive franchise. That's what gets lost in the sauce. That's what people forget about in all of this and throughout all of this, is that the Indians have had success. They are the American League's most winningest team in the last 4 years. They've won the most games. But we know what it comes down to. You can't be stuck in the middle. Once you get to those playoffs, you got to win, because you have a window that's like this. Once that window shuts, you're done. So, obviously, Chicago Cubs, 2016, the Indians were never supposed to get there, right? The Indians weren't even supposed to beat the Boston Red Sox that year. So that doesn't really stress me out that entirely much, that happened to the Indians, because, listen, they weren't supposed to be there. So then you start talking about, okay, well, the next year, they're coming back even better. They have Edwin Encarnacion on the Tribe. Okay, time to make it happen, right? Okay, then you run into the Houston cheating scandal. Okay, next year, ready to go. Cleveland Indians, here we come. And that goes to hell in a handbag. So you're starting to see what I'm saying, right? You're starting to see the trend of how everything goes to hell. Everything goes to hell in a handbag. And last year, the Minnesota Twins were a really good team, but the Indians were just as good of a team, and they couldn't even crack a wild card. And that's what frustrates me so bad. But if you want to turn it around, tonight's the night. Tonight is the night to turn it around. On the line, we have Mike in Cleveland. Bring him up here. Mike dropped. Mike, we're waiting for you here, Mike. So whenever you want to come back on, be my guest. But you understand what I want to say is that this team stresses me out. This team gives me headaches, and they don't need to. And the way to prevent that is to win. All you have to do is win. Again, this is a team in the midst of a rebuild. If you don't win, I hate to be this guy, but you look at this team next year from head to toe, it's going to look very different. Win or lose, the Tribe could very well win the World Series and look completely different. And that scares me. Okay, let's bring him in. Mike in Cleveland has a take on the Tribe. Mike, you're on there.
Yeah, I definitely don't think Cleveland's have a chance. They really don't have a good score because they're a bunch of fucking niggers.
Okay, we're going to ban Mike from the show. And we are quickly going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back in here to the Big Play Studio. Of course, as you saw on your screen there, that quick commercial break is brought to you guys by my friends at Dugout Mugs. DugoutMugs.com, man, they're the best. And you hear me talk about them every week. The Tribe are still alive. And to help us get us through tonight, to help us get us through this series, my guys at Dugout Mugs have you covered. And I talk about them all the time, but they're truly the best. I've got my bat mug on set with me, and you can get yours too. Take a look at these one more time. They're real baseball bats, cut off, hollowed out on the inside, ready for you, ready for your beer, ready for your tea, whatever you want to put in there. Dugout Mugs is good to go. They got you guys. And that's what I want you to know about them. To get you rolling with the Dugout Mug crew, they want you in the dugout. I'm in the dugout. They're going to give you a free knob shot. This is a super limited time offer for my listeners, for my callers. DugoutMugs.com/Pedone is what you're going to do. You're going to go get your free mug shot today, your free little knob shot today. All you have to do is pay that shipping and handling. It's like $8 to get this guy to your doorstep. They're usually like $25 in that Cleveland Indians team shop. So visit dugoutmugs.com/Pedone today. That's dugoutmugs.com/my last name Pedone today and get your free knob shot. Dugout Mugs are going to get us through this, whether Cleveland Indians win, lose, they can't tie. Dugoutmugs.com/Pedone. That's the only way to do it. So, Mike in Cleveland is banned from the show now, and we're back. We're talking Tribe with you. And my question was, tweet the show at NickPedone12, tweet the show at Pedone My Take. Can the Tribe hang with the big boys? And I say no. Even though I think they're going to win the game tonight, and I'm super excited about that, I say no because you look to the next round, you look to the World Series, who on the other side by all accounts, and by my personal take, it's going to be the LA Dodgers. Here's the thing. The LA Dodgers are night and day better than the Indians. And why, you talk about the salary cap and the lack thereof and this and that and this and that. They're just the superior team. And that happens sometimes in sports. You would ask anybody that the Los Angeles Lakers have played so far in the NBA playoffs, right? Sometimes you just get beat. And that's what scares me, because right now I think the Indians are just as good as the New York Yankees. Now the New York Yankees, as we saw last night, have guys 1 through 9 that could hit the ball, whereas the Cleveland Indians don't. So that's room for concern in and of itself. However, the Indians are as good as the Yankees. I don't want to hear otherwise. Screw the Yankees. It's always screw the Yankees. But when you start getting onto some of those bigger teams that are able to pay guys, and they have just as good pitching, the Indians have good pitching, but as you keep moving on, okay, everyone has good pitching, right? If you get to this point, it's because the teams have good pitching. So that's what concerns me. And tonight we find out. Tonight we find out if it's a legitimate concern, because if they win tonight, it changes everything. So quickly, let's get into Sunday. The Browns travel to Dallas to play the Cowboys. And we were just talking about momentum. The Cleveland Browns need to keep that momentum moving, baby. And I think it's completely possible that they do so. I think the Browns have a really good chance of cracking the playoffs this year. And you heard that correctly. For those of you at home that might have just put your Q-tip in your ear and wiped it out to find no wax on the end. I think this is going to be a great test to see what the Cleveland Browns have in front of them, which is so exciting, because we went into this season, at least I went into this season, and I feel like a lot of you did as well, and you went into this season with high expectations, but you said they need to prove me. The talent is there, but the Browns need to prove it to me. Before the season started, that's what everyone was tweeting at me. At Nick Pedone 12, at Pedone My Take. Sure, we could get excited. Sure, we have the offseason moves. Sure, Kevin Stefanski had success in Green Bay. But the Cleveland Browns need to prove it to me. And I don't know, but I think if they beat the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday, they've proven it to me. We'll have to see how it looks. And as bad as I want the Browns to win, and as much as I think they can win, because quarterbacks against that Dallas defense this season have been phenomenal. We think the Browns defense is bad. We do in this city. We think the Browns defense is really bad. And it is. The Dallas Cowboys defense might be worse. They're bad. If you want to beat Dallas, you take Nick Chubb and you take Kareem Hunt, who I know didn't practice today, and you give it to those dudes. And I know Aldon Smith is leading the NFL in sacks right now, and he actually is a tremendous story, how he came back from missing all this time, hasn't played in the NFL in years, and he's back and he's currently leading the NFL in sacks. Okay, it's been 3 weeks, and he's leading the NFL in sacks. And the Cowboys haven't been phenomenal throughout their games. The Cowboys are not good this year. We always joke the Cowboys, people get so excited about them. This offseason, it was Mike McCarthy that got everybody all excited because he's new. He's hanging at home, and he's been reinventing his offense and changing the way that he does things. We heard all that. And it's like, I can't even tell that the Cowboys have a new coach. So that bothers me a little bit, because it's like, okay, we get excited for them to go 8-8 every year. But it's a good test for the Browns, because outside of Baltimore, Cincinnati's really bad. Washington football team is really bad. That's why those two teams were the first pick and the second pick in this year's draft. But the Dallas Cowboys are a much better test. This game, you get to really see what you have with the Browns. You get to see what you have with Baker Mayfield. And the thing with that is, I see a lot of negativity on Twitter today, and I'm sure you guys have too, with, is Baker Mayfield the franchise guy? Still, like, he's 2-1. Is Baker Mayfield only a game manager, right? Like, can he make the big throws to win games? Or is he just one of those dudes that's really good at managing the game? And that he needs to turn into one of those Matthew Stafford type of guys that you know what you're going to get every week. You're going to get just under 200 yards, maybe a touchdown or two. Nothing's going to impress the pants off you, but he's going to manage the game, and you're going to sneak some wins out of him. Now, to me, the game manager thing that people are starting to almost accuse Baker of being, that's not a bad thing. Don't you want your quarterback to be the manager? When you go to the store, you go to a restaurant, and you have a problem with something, what do? Well, if you're a Karen or if you're a Mike Jones who called the show earlier, and you're all angry, and you yell at the waiter, you look like a dope because the waiter doesn't run the place. The waiter just freaking works there. They're just trying to cash their check. Same with the cashier. If you're one of the bozos that yells at a cashier at the store, you're the scum of the earth. The cashier is literally there to clock in at his clock in time and clock out at his clock out time and do little minute tasks throughout the day while he's there. So if you're one of those guys that gets mad at those people, you're a bozo. But that's completely besides the point. Because when something goes bad, who do you ask for? You ask for the manager, right? The manager's the guy that wears the pants. He's the one that is supposed to have control. Okay? So what's wrong with Baker being a game manager? I think that's a good thing. I think first and foremost, you want your quarterback to learn how to be a game manager, because then the internal clock, things start making sense. Then the game starts slowing down. You know when to throw the ball. You know when to audible out of throws. You know when to run the ball. You know at the end of games, end of quarters, you know when to throw to the sidelines. You know when to throw to the corners of the field so guys could get out of bounds. Becoming a game manager for a young quarterback is a very good thing. It's not a demeaning thing. So if you're trying to use that to discredit or to embarrass Baker Mayfield in a sense, that's not going to work, because becoming a game manager, in my opinion of quarterbacking, is the thing that needs to happen first and foremost. And from there, you start to build the blocks. You start to learn how to make the big throws. You start to learn how to, really read intricate defensive packages. And Odell is going to run himself into double coverage here. I need to just look for my check down. Or my check down, if I throw it to him now, it's going to get picked off by the linebacker that's lurking. Now is the time to look down the field. Things like that happen over time, but first you need to allow yourself to be able to get into that position where that's able to happen. And for Baker, we rushed his development so much. And we did it as fans, we did it as media, and the Browns did it themselves, because he had a fantastic record-breaking rookie season, and myself and everyone else got beyond excited. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of being a fan. The word fan stems from the word fanatic. I probably say that on this podcast all the time. You have to cheer for something. You have to be a fan of something. So we were excited. We were like, we got our guy, a record-breaking guy. Like, the Browns are going to do some really cool, some really fun things and win some games next year. After the Odell trade, we blew up because that was exciting. That was fun. The Browns are relevant again. And then we hired Freddie Kitchens. Well, really, and then we fired Hugh Jackson, hired Greg Williams, hired Freddie Kitchens, fired Freddie Kitchens, and somewhere in the middle of all that, fired Todd Haley as well. So Baker Mayfield, throughout his Browns career, has had nothing but confusion and dysfunction, and we rushed his development. But now, this year, and he said this, and now it's about being about it, and we've seen it through 3 games, in my opinion, because I told you after that Baltimore game, Baker Mayfield was not as bad as you all made him out to be. If you missed that, go listen on Apple Podcasts, go listen on Spotify. To me, Baker is learning to become a game manager, and that's the first step of many steps that are going to be needed for him to have a long, prosperous NFL career. He's getting there. He's doing things in the right order, in the right operation. And if he beats the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday, like if this is Baker's coming out party, because so far in these 2 games, we've seen Baker make the throws that he needs to make, which is important, not turn the ball over against Washington, which is very important, and keep them off the field, and just be the guy that we needed Baker to be to win those games, because we won those games on the legs of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So then, now, if this is Baker's coming out party against Dallas, who is without a Wouzier in their secondary, their offensive line is on their second string left tackle and their second string right tackle. I think their starting right tackle might be coming back. He's going to be limited throughout practice. It's one of those botchy situations. So they have injuries too, just like the Browns have injuries. The Dallas Cowboys have injuries as well. To me, though, if this is Baker's coming out party, like it has been for a lot of quarterbacks this season who have played the Dallas Cowboys, who are allowing well over 300 yards through the air in almost all their games this season, if that holds true for Baker Mayfield, and then him and the Browns look good doing so, you could go ahead and you could take your pencil, you could write on your playoff bracket, you would pencil the Browns in. Because if that happens, if you beat the Dallas Cowboys, you got a rough stretch ahead. You play the Colts, who are no joke. They got Phillip Rivers, who, in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, is going to be in Canton at some point in his career. Then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have tormented this division, specifically the Cleveland Browns, for the better half of this decade. You know, Big Ben just has our number. They're nothing to be dismissed, even though the teams that they've played so far are cumulative 0-9. I'll say that again. The teams that the Pittsburgh Steelers have played to this point are a cumulative 0-9. So the jury is still out on them. It still is to be determined what Big Ben really is after this surgery, what that Steelers defense, are they really cracked up, all what they're cracked up to be. They're only beating those teams that they're 0-9 by the average score of 1 touchdown. So 7 points is what they're beating these teams by that are a cumulative 0-9. So if they're really that big, that good, you'd think they'd be beating them more handedly. Who knows? That's to be determined. You got those 2 games, Colts, Pittsburgh, that are going to be a little bit tougher. But then you look down the road and you play some bottom of the barrel teams. I think the Raiders are better than what they were last year, but the Browns are just more talented. If you're the Browns, you got to beat Oakland. You got to beat Las Vegas. You play both New York teams. That really might be all I need to stay right there. Is you play both New York teams. The Giants without Saquon look like they could have the number 1 pick again. The Jets look like they're the Jets are about probably 30 hours maybe away from firing their head coach. You play Jacksonville and they're like, you guys see what I'm saying. There's a chance for the Browns to be really good. If you beat Dallas, that proves to me that not only could you beat up on the bad teams, because that's what Baker has done throughout his whole career. That's the criticism, that the teams that Baker is able to beat, they're not very good. And that's been the tale of the Browns for the last 2 seasons. But if you beat Dallas, that proves to me that you can now not only beat the bad teams and the teams that you're supposed to beat, you got that in the bag. But now you're able to start creeping into the conversation of, we could beat teams with some talent. We could beat a team with Dak Prescott, who by all accounts should get paid by Jerry Jones this offseason, with Ezekiel Elliott, who is a top 5 pick, with Amari Cooper, who was traded for 2 first-round picks, for Michael Gallup, who's nothing to be scoffed at, for CeeDee Lamb, who's a first-round pick this year. Like, the Dallas Cowboys are a good team. They're a talented team. Now it's time for the Browns to show me that they're legit. And I think they will. I'm picking the Browns to win this game. It's going to be close. Folks, this is going to be the game where the winner comes off the foot of Cody Parkey, of good old CP2, and that's what makes me nervous. I got the Browns winning this one in a good old-fashioned shootout, 35-33. Browns, book it, my bookie, do whatever you need to do. Browns 35, Dallas 33 in a good old-fashioned shootout at Jerry World. Something that gets forgotten about, and not today, it got blown up today, so I shouldn't say forgotten about. Something to look at in this game is Myles Garrett. I said how their defense is really banged up. I think he's going to go in there with extra motivation knowing that. The Washington O-line stinks. The Cincinnati Bengals O-line stinks. And I think Garrett knew that. I think he knew that he was going to be able to exploit that. And he did. He had 2 strip sacks in those games. So Garrett now has a chance to have 3 strip sacks within 3 games, which is super impressive. Also, he has that chip on his shoulder that he's going against Aldon Smith, who's currently leading the league in sacks. And Myles Garrett, Sing it with me. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. This is Miles. Oh. Okay, don't sing it with me. That was horrible. This is Myles Garrett's coming out party, too. It's his homecoming. We know he's going to want to show up, show out, as it's Baker Mayfield's coming home party. He said today when he met with the media that he's going to have his family, he's going to have his friends there with him in Dallas. That's definitely something really to look forward to, is those guys are going to want to perform. And for Baker, I think that means finding Odell. I think that means making some of the big plays that we've been anticipating, especially in Jerry World. You know, the lights are always a little bit brighter in there just because it's Dallas. It's cool to play there. Guys like playing there. Specifically, the two, former number one picks on our team are from Texas. Like, their family and friends are going to be there. However, this is the first road game. This is going to be the first road game, really, for the Browns. Obviously, they were on the road against Baltimore. I know you're probably saying, Nick, you dope. They played on the road already this year. There's no fans in Baltimore. Dallas, you got fans. So that's something to look out for, too. But these guys are going to be amped up. They're going to be ready to go. I'm picking the Browns to win on Sunday in Dallas. Quickly, let's switch gears. NBA Finals. You guys know this is my bread and butter. I love basketball. I love the Cavs. I love LeBron. And all I think I need to say here is the Lakers are going to win this series, right? What other analysis do you guys really want from me other than the Lakers have LeBron and Anthony Davis on their team? Yeah, and I think me, my parents that are watching, my grandparent that is probably watching, you guys at home, if you ever played NBA 2K video game before, I think you could coach the Los Angeles Lakers. You see what I'm trying to say? I think Eric Spoelstra has done a phenomenal job in Miami with the Heat this year. Obviously, no one really picked them, unless you listen to this show, because I picked them, to make the NBA Finals. They were really heavy underdogs going into the bubble, obviously as a 5 seed. But come on, man. Eric Spoelstra, what are you going to scheme up? And maybe he could do it. Maybe I come on these airwaves here next Wednesday and I look like a big old fool because Eric Spoelstra seems to be punking LeBron, AD, and what Vogel has going there. But I just can't foresee it happening, right? This is just one of those instances where it's... I can't even think of a good analogy. It's David versus Goliath, and Goliath is going to win in this one because the Miami Heat are such a cool story. Bam should have won most improved player this year, in my opinion. He's made strides. He's played huge in this bubble and throughout the playoffs. Jimmy Butler, who seems to be hated around the NBA. Everybody called him a cancer in the locker room, whatever team he's been on. He seems to be fitting in perfect with the Heat. Then you have Tyler Hero, who's literally a 19-year-old kid in his first season, and a mess of a season at that, with COVID and everything else. After these games, he should have been, partying in the streets and the nightlife of Miami, Florida, and he hasn't even been able to do that because he has to win these games and go right back to his hotel at Disney World. It's so weird, and the Heat are such a cool story. It would be so fun. But man, LeBron just has that look, has that feel about him this year. I got the Lakers winning this one in 5. We know LeBron likes to have that game 1 feel out game. I feel like tonight, when LeBron has that feel out game, could be a quick slip up there, but come on, man. What else is there that needs to be said? Lakers in 5, too much LeBron. I think Bam could equalize Anthony Davis. Not fully, but I think Bam could rough up Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis doesn't like that. Excuse me, I'm sorry. If you watch the Lakers like I have, I've watched pretty much every Lakers game throughout the bubble. And I pride myself in saying that because I am such an NBA fan, and I'm proud of that. I feel like if you like something, you need to watch it, and you need to fully indulge yourself in that. And I've done that with this Lakers team because my Cavs obviously are out of the bubble. If you watch them, though, closely, Anthony Davis underneath the basket doesn't do well. Like, I'm speaking in terms of rebounding, in terms of box outs, clear outs. He doesn't like it too much. So, he'll do it, and he does it a lot because he's Anthony Davis. He's a superstar big man. He's the best big man in the league right now. But there's times where it's like the other team gets an offensive rebound. It's like, where the hell was AD? or there's times where like the Lakers really need offensive rebound. It happened a lot against the last series against the Denver Nuggets. This actually happened a lot, and it's like LeBron would do what he does. I hate when he does this, and he kills the shot clock and then hoists a bad shot and it clanks right off the rim, and then it's like, okay, AD, put that back and slam it. Oh, AD is standing in the corner, waiting for a catch and shoot three. That's kind of frustrating. So I feel like Bam could equalize AD in that sense. Bam's a little bit more physical. He's going to scrap underneath that basket and grab some rebounds. But this one's just going to be too much LeBron. I know they're going to try to put Jimmy Butler on LeBron. I'm interested to see if and how that works. And, my fear is, as a supporter of the Miami Heat, and as someone that said they're going to make waves in the bubble, they're going to make a splash in the playoffs, my biggest fear for the Miami Heat, and for whatever reason, if there's a Miami Heat fan watching this and that stayed through all my Indians and all my Browns whining and complaining, if for some reason there is a Miami Heat fan watching this show at this current moment, my biggest fear for you is that I'm going to have to watch Jay Crowder defend LeBron. That's going to work horribly. That is not going to work at all. Don't put Jay Crowder, by any means, don't let Jay Crowder guard LeBron. That's not going to end well for you. That's really all I have to say about that. This has been an awesome episode. Pedone My Take. Brought to you by my friends at MyBookie. Check them out. Register with my promo code Pedone. That's my last name, Pedone. Double that first deposit. My friends at Dugout Mugs, guys. Check these out. Real life baseball bats, hollowed out on the inside, so you can put water in there, tea, beer, anything you want. Drink out of them. Whether the Tribe win or lose for you tonight, Dugout Mugs is here. Maybe you hate the Indians and you're looking for a new team to pull for after tonight, after tomorrow night. I surely hope that's not the case, but it might be. They have Tribe Dugout bats if you want to double down your love. If you want to find a new team, maybe the Yankees. I'd hate you if you did it. But they have all other teams with their logos etched onto there as well. DugoutMugs.com/Pedone is going to be your way to get involved in that movement. It's going to be your way to get into the dugout with me, with countless others. The president has a dugout mug. This President Barack Obama had one too. Every celebrity that is obsessed with baseball has a dugout mug. Go check them out on social media at Dugout Mugs. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. They're on Twitter. You could see Big Poppy got his own dugout mug this week. So if Big Poppy is drinking out of a dugout mug, you can be too. I'm holding a Carlos Santana dugout mug here. We need him to turn it on tonight. He's hitting cleanup for the Tribe. He's batting 199. The way to get them to stop putting up that graphic of the horrible regular season that you've had, Carlos Santana, because I know you're watching, you go out there and you have some big hits tonight, hit some home runs tonight. And if he does that, you guys have to go to dugoutmugs.com/Pedone, get your free knob shot, and then get your mug. That's all I got to say. This has been another episode of Pedone My Take, brought to you by the fine, fantastic folks at BigPlay.com. Give them a follow at BigPlay_com. As Pat Shermer used to say, we will see ya Wednesday.